Hello, folks. This is your host, Tammy Tuckey, and you are now listening to the Tiara Talk Show. We bring you rare interviews with the makers of Disney magic. Whether they be singers, actors, Imagineers, animators, they have all made their mark on the Disney name. Be sure to check out the show notes, other episodes, contests, our social media pages from Facebook to Twitter, and more on our official website at www.thetiaratalkshow.com. All guest opinions are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the opinions of the Tiara Talk Show or the host. The Tiara Talk Show is not associated with the Disney Company. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. And from all of us here at the Tiara Talk Show, have a hoop-de-doo day. This week at the Tiara Talk Show, we welcome back our Cast Member Corner segment, in which we speak to past or current cast members of the Disney theme parks and cruise ships from around the world.
Hi, my name is Kate Abreo, and I had the privilege of playing Princess Belle in the Disney Cruise Line stage show, Disney Dreams.
And this is one that probably a lot of people have seen because it almost has 3.5 million hits on YouTube, this film version.
So it's actually shocking. Every time I go on there, the view count goes up, and I'm like, my gosh, this is a viral sensation, and you never think you'll be part of something like that. But, I mean, man, it's just amazing.
And I got to speak with Stephanie Mark probably about a year ago, and they played Anne-Marie and Peter Pan in this particular film version, which, of course, for listeners who have not seen it, I would encourage you to pause this interview and go in the show notes below, because I have a link to this filmed version by Disney that they play. If you can't get to the physical theater, they have a version that plays in the little TV in your room. And so this was the version that played for several years before they updated it recently. But this one I absolutely adore. I love the theme to it, with a little girl trying to believe in her dreams, with Peter Pan coming in and a lot of other Disney characters. So Belle, I think, has probably the most vocally demanding part besides Peter and Anne-Marie, because she really goes for all these high notes. So, and you have such a beautiful voice, Kate. But before we get into Belle, how did you get into the entertainment industry, or how did you get into theater overall?
Well, I mean, I've been singing since I was a little girl. I think that's going to be the story for most people who go into entertainment, or some sort of, they've either been acting since they were a child or singing. But I always knew that I wanted to work for Disney. And, my parents, I was fortunate enough to go to Disney when I was a kid, and they took me there. And between me being a singer and doing it in high school, I was like, oh, I got to, and once you see the entertainment in the parks, you're like, I've got to do this with my life one day. And I made it a life goal. I was like, I'm going to be a singing princess for Disney. And that ended up happening. So that was a total dream come true. So I actually went to an equity open call for Disney World, not for Disney Cruise Line per se. And there happened to be someone for Disney Cruise Line sitting in on the audition process, where they make you sing. You have to prepare, pretty standard, 16 bars of 2 contrasting selections, which I did. And I sang, and they're like, well, what about Disney Cruise Line? And I'm like, what about it? Can you come back for one of our specific auditions? So at the Disney World audition, I actually got a call back to come for Disney Cruise Line. And then I had to go and do another audition for them out in Sarasota, Florida. And it was the same thing. I sang 2 pieces for them, contrasting styles, and the producers and the casting directors were actually at that audition, and that's when I got hired. We weren't the actual opening cast. There had been a few before us, but they had revamped the show and added characters like Timon and Pumbaa, and so that newer version was the one that they filmed for what you're seeing on YouTube. We were Wonder 15. I actually did Wonder 13, lucky number 13, and Wonder 15, but the version that you see is the Wonder 15 cast. Great group of people. So people know me as Belle because of the YouTube video, but I also was Meg in Disney's Hercules, which is not on board anymore. I loved that show, and it's gone now, sadly, but it was so much fun. And then in the Golden Mickeys, which I'm not sure if they're still doing that one either, but I was Sleeping Beauty, Princess Aurora, and I actually got to do a little bit of Ensign Benson, who was the lead character in that show as well.
And the version you had for Ensign Benson, were you talking to Roy Disney or was it Whoopi Goldberg?
That's a good question because I know it switched at some point. We had Whoopi Goldberg, and I believe immediately after that they went back to using Roy Disney, who actually had recently passed away. So it was crazy how that happened. But it was really cool. I felt like I was actually talking to Whoopi Goldberg, which made it really fun.
How were the rehearsal processes like? How long did they initially take? Like maybe a month or two?
They were so fun. So we rehearse in Toronto at this space. It's on this place called Queen Street East, and coldest time of the year. My two contracts, we actually went on board around January, so we were rehearsing up there November and December, and it was freezing cold, but I really enjoyed it. It's like a little dance studio type situation out there, but I mean, you've got the best people in the business, like teaching you how to do everything. Like you get to meet all the Disney choreographers, and the director at the time was amazing. And they even have somebody like come and teach you how to do the Spanish web, which if you're like me and you have no acrobatic skills whatsoever, it can be a little awkward, but they make you all do it, and it's really fun. So for Belle, you have to run off. You know how she's in her blue peasant dress in the first scene, and then she just appears in this beautiful gold ball gown, and you're like, wow, that's so instantaneous and magical. So what the audience sees is this instant transformation, but backstage it's all chaos and clothes flying everywhere. And they're literally technicians holding flashlights all around you. One of your changers strips you down and throws you into this gold costume and this wig and the earrings and the glove. And I mean, this happens in a matter of minutes, and then you're back on, and you barely have time to breathe, and then you come out composed. And there's the beast, and all is right with the world.
You're only performing these shows at night. So how does the day begin for you? Do you wake up really early, get to sleep in? Because these shows run, I think there's like 3 shows a night or 2?
It's 2 shows a night, except sometimes during the C-Day. Poor Mark and Stephanie, I'm giving them a shout out right now. Sometimes there would be three show days, and Disney Dreams is so demanding, especially for characters like Peter and Anne-Marie. But for me, I'm not going to lie, I had everybody right now is going to hate me, the most relaxing day. So I could get up, and we had guest privileges. So I could go on the top deck and get in the hot tub, go to the Kona Cafe, have a smoothie, read my book, get off on the islands wherever we were stopped, go and enjoy that. The only time I really had to work on the mornings were the sea days. So on the 3 and 4 night cruises, which I was on the Disney Wonder, I got to just have a ball and relax, and then just do the shows at night. So it's a dream come true in more ways than one.
My question for you is, if you could add any Disney movie character to any of the shows that has never been in one, who would you love to see have their own musical number, or just at least a quick cameo in one of the shows?
Well, Tammy, I'm from New Orleans, and we have a group down here that covers a lot of 1950s jazz. So I love anything Louis Prima. So King Louis from the Jungle Book. I would love to see some Jungle Book number thrown into one of the shows, which I know is a little old school, but I think that would reach a lot of audiences, and the music is just so good. I'm waiting for a Disney Cruise Line cast member reunion, because I'm the first in line to want to get on that ship and say hello to everybody again, and just to see what they're doing now. It's really sad, and I feel really guilty for saying this, but I have no idea actually what shows they are doing.
Is there any moment or memory that really comes to mind when I say just overall your entire experience at Disney?
This is one that I wasn't sure if we'd touch upon, but yes, I would say all of I have some personal ones, which I may not go into detail about at the moment, but just the ship romances, and how many of my, former castmates either married someone they were on board with, and someone they did a show with, and they fell in love. I mean, it's like a real life Cinderella and Prince Charming situation for so many of my friends that were on Disney Cruise Line, and myself included. I had these wonderful experiences, and I will say that I ended up one night sitting in the captain's chair, steering the ship and looking out at the stars. So that was definitely one of my most memorable experiences. It really was a dream come true.
You know, it's just one of those things where it's a really a special time for the cast members too. I really don't think a lot of guests understand, but you guys are there for months on end performing these shows. So how long was your official run on either of the ships?
So my first contract, I think, was about 6 months, and then the second one was 7 or 7.5. And that's the thing, Tammy. Like we really do become close with each other. First of all, you don't have a choice, but I mean, everyone is just so special, and you know, they become like brothers and sisters. Like I can remember nights, Mark coming into my cabin and chowing down on like chips and popcorn and stuff like that. And he and Stephanie obviously became really, really close because of their roles. They spent a lot of time together, and I think they're still friends to this day. But I'm still friends with a lot of them. Some of the other princesses, see that they're having, you know, babies, and we keep in touch with each other, and it's really sentimental. It's that kind of life story where you can say you met these people, they changed your life, and they're still in your life, and we still communicate via social media.
And you still perform. I love seeing your posts, whether they be on YouTube or Facebook, about you know, of just you singing, because you're fantastic. So are there any current projects that you could mention that our listeners can go check out, whether it be a video or an upcoming event?
Well, there are a few things in the works. One of them, I'm working with these two other very talented ladies who are very well known in the city, and we do a lot of three-part. One of the things I like to do is 3-part harmony stuff, and we love singing together. So I'm trying to make that happen for us, like just find a venue for us to sing at, so we're basically just good friends who like to harmonize with each other. And that sounds really nerdy to anyone, unless you're a musical person or you do theater, then you understand how fun it is to just get with your friends and harmonize. So that's one thing I've got going on. But I also very recently started my own cover band, which I'm very, very proud of. And, you know, we sing mostly for weddings, which is really fun for me because it's a very joyous time in people's lives. That's another dream come true that's actually happening right now as we speak. So.
Well, I can't thank you enough for being on the show, and I have some fun Disney-themed questions I always end with. I call them the Fab 3, which I think you already know about them, but we'll start with the Donald one, which is, as a child, what Disney film would you always like to see over and over again?
Mary Poppins. She's practically perfect in every way.
And our goofy question, what Disney character do you think would be your best friend if you met them in person?
Well, that's easy. It's Belle. I've spent so much time studying Belle, and I feel like I am Belle even now, 10 years later. You know, I'm that quiet girl who likes to read, who just wants to have all of these adventures in life, and I keep having all of these great adventures in life. I even have 6 little beasts of my own. They're cats, but it's like Beauty and the Beast, plural.
And our Mickey question, if I asked you to name any Disney song at this very moment, what immediately comes to mind?
I Can Go the Distance from Hercules. Every time I get on an airplane, I get a window seat and I'm flying through the clouds, and that is my favorite song because I can go the distance. I live my dreams, and so can everybody else who's listening in. So go the distance, folks. You can do it.
And my final question that I only ask to our cast member folks, if you could describe your experience working for the Disney company in one word, what would that be?
One word. Oh, you're making this so tough. Magical.
Certain as the sun, rising in the east, timeless as dawn, songs as light, beauty and the beast.
Tale as as old as time.
Song as old as rhyme. Beauty and the Beast. I want adventure in the great wide somewhere. I want it more than I can tell. And for once it might be grand to have someone understand. I want so much more than they've got planned.